So really quick before we go any further into this podcast, man, let me tell you, it's been some rough times, man. But definitely it's your host, DJ Automator, here with your boy, Juju the God. See, we're here today with the Listening In Boys with Steve and Chuck.
What's up?
Hey. Hello. So we got them back here on the second time go round. Definitely check them out. They got some different vibes over there.
Go ahead and put in
some
the plug.
Some lyrical breakdowns over there.
Some lyrical genius.
Definitely for sure. Without the Miracle Whip, if you guys are definitely trying to go
not quite
vegan.
on Julian Casablanca's level.
Yeah,
we don't got the Miracle Whip, but we do double dip.
Amen.
Hey.
So today we got kind of like an interesting podcast for you guys here. A few little topics on what's going on and what you could do to stay busy. I just want to give a shout out to the people who are just surviving without that second stimulus check coming. Because y'all messed up.
True.
Yeah, messed up.
Y'all messed up.
Betting
y'all
on that second one. Some of these countries got every month coming in, definitely doing that UBI. And we thought it was coming, but nah.
Shout out to Andrew Yang with that UBI.
Andrew Yang.
So,
the man himself.
Boys to bruh.
Now, what does that mean to you?
So, how I came up with this name for the podcast is in a sense of, boys to men. Like when you think of Boys to Men, the group,
the artist, yeah.
It's like your boys growing up, learning to become mature. They're trying to figure shit out. And then our generation is like, bruh, where are the old heads at? And we're trying to become men, but we're like, bruh, what's up? So we kind of get cut off. So it's like boys to bruh. So we kind of like halfway, we're figuring shit out on our own. So,
I like that. I like it.
Yeah.
So because the boomers do not fuck with us.
Man, dude, like we're kind of like the millennials are like caught up like in this war where we're too old and then the older guys like, not another fucking millennial. What are you talking about?
Ew,
You're complaining about everything.
That's how I feel.
Force me to retire.
That's how I feel about. That's how I feel about Gen Z. Except I am Gen Z.
See, I don't even know.
Shameful.
I didn't even know the name of
dude.
They call them Zoomers, actually.
Zoomers.
Instead of Boomers, because they're actually embracing a lot of the Boomer ideology.
Did not know that.
Horrible as this might sound, you can take this off if you want. But I was going
to
say,
off.
Shout out to my Snapchat group chat, which I named Zoomers, because instead of using Zoom, we used Snapchat because it was better. Anyway,
okay, true.
Wow,
because
that's some real quarantine stuff.
Wasn't that like a breakthrough on fucking Zoom where like people were getting their shit hacked and it's still around? I thought they were gonna dismantle that and it's still here.
I mean, I just know Zoom's blowing up.
So to be honest, a lot of the negative hype around Zoom was kind of overhyped.
Oh, what if that was we were talking about this on your pod? What if that was the rollout to get
everyone
shout out to
Ludacris
because. You said that on your pod.
Hey, and we're back.
So like,
dude,
because people do like a lot of stuff like for a rollout. Like, okay, the easiest way to get people to hear about whatever you have, definitely anything. Any publicity is good publicity. Yeah. So if you got like a whole negative thing, like it's been hacked, that's gonna hit the top of the headlines.
I want it.
So like everyone's like, Zoom, what's Zoom? And the first thing people do are gonna try it out first. Just like when Eddie Murphy said back in the day, he's like, I think people want to smell your fart because whenever you tell people I farted, they're like, ooh, you did. It's like, what the fuck you're waiting around for to smell the fart? Oh, that's fucking nuts, man.
That was my first interaction with Zoom was during quarantine time. And, of course, it's been around before this. Like, a lot of these platforms, Zoom, like, a lot of people, like, you Facebook. Had to inform me. Facebook. You informed me, DJ Automata, that TikTok has been around long before quarantine.
Yes.
And I never would have known.
And, dude, TikTok's another one of those with a lot of bad hype behind it, right? Because it's run by the Chinese government. It's going to hack your phone. It's unsecure.
Gosh.
And what happened after people were freaking out about that? It blew up bigger than ever.
Dude, it did. It really did.
Any publicity is good publicity.
Extremely true.
PSA about that. I don't know if this is 100% true, so you guys want to check your own facts. But I saw a lot of different information saying that TikTok is taking down any TikToks posted with the hashtag Black Lives Matter or anything that has anything to do with George Floyd. So I haven't looked into it completely, so don't take my word for it. But I deleted my TikTok.
We don't like that. But I will say, I'm not trying to big them up, but they brought all the posts back. because they realized they were wrong. They sent out an apology.
Oh, they did?
And now the BLM is back.
They realized they were canceled, probably.
Yeah, in this culture that we live in, who knows?
And see,
man.
I learned something today. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, a lot of it's
the
back.
story.
Yeah, a lot of people were getting what is that thing called when they get rid of people for a while? I don't know. What do they call
Exile,
it?
like
Not
hiatus or
cancel,
something?
but like when you're a member, they do something to you where you
They
can't
put you,
post.
like kind of like Facebook jail in a sense.
Like they break your legs or what?
Jeez, I don't know.
I'll keep the legs.
They
When
chop off your fingers and cut out your
Jeez,
tongue.
when they ban you. So basically, they were banning a lot of members because of this, and now they're back. And then the craziest thing is, it's so ironic. Their first video back, they're like, "I was banned for a while. If you guys realized that I was gone, this is why." And then they're telling everyone what TikTok said.
Yeah.
So they had to come out with an apology letter.
But do you feel like at that point the damage is done?
Yes.
Yes, completely, 100%.
See, on a I get what you're saying completely, but on a lighter note, since I'm just always listening to music, it's just like the first thing you said when you had said like, "Oh, we're back." The first thing that came to my mind is they just come on and just saying, "Guess who's back?"
Oh, Slim
Back
Shady.
again.
Shout out to Eminem.
Shout out to TikTok. But on that TikTok subject, though, even though they like undid that thing, still be skeptical of them because they are. I mean, I'm
Shady.
not trying to fearmonger, but there are some very legitimate concerns about the control that the Chinese government has over them, given that they're owned by a Chinese company. But and I don't mean like. I mean, like the Communist Party of China, which is like I have no problem with China, but the Communist Party is a little bit shady,
Definitely.
to put it lightly.
CCP.
So while we're on the subject, what do you guys think, or are you even familiar with the legislation that our president has passed against Twitter?
Oh, it's not even legislation. That's the problem. It's an executive order. If he could have done it through legislation, it might have some.
He'll hold some more weight.
But yeah, basically, I mean, it's very petty in my opinion, and it also won't do anything. But yeah, basically, from what I understand, he wanted to take a hardline stance that said that either social media companies aren't allowed to modify any posts because they fact checked one of his tweets. They didn't censor it, but they did put a little notification underneath that said, "Hey, like read this article. It's not exactly true what he's saying." And so basically he was saying that if you put any disclaimers on stuff, then you either need to be classified. I can't remember what the exact terms, but you either need to be, I think it's a publisher, kind of like a newspaper, where they're responsible for everything they post. And so it's either like you either need to back off and not do anything, or you need to be responsible for everything everyone posts. And that's a really scary thing for media, like social media companies, because if you're liable for every single thing that every single one of your users posts,
Slippery slope.
it's over. Yeah, and so, but
Because you can't control everything.
but it's bad because under that legislation, then they absolutely do have to fact check everything, and so it kind of like doubles down on what they did.
Yeah, and it's both ends of the spectrum because before all of that even took place, there was something going on with Mike Zuckerberg and in terms of
Dude,
Facebook.
shout out to the Zuck.
Shout out to the Zuck. Because people were trying to pressure him into doing something similar, like saying, hey, you shouldn't allow people to post things. And when I was reading it then, it was in terms of the primary for the Democratic primary, because for the Republican primary, that was pretty much
In the bag.
non-existent. It was like, you know who's getting that. But they were trying to pressure Zuckerberg, like, hey, you shouldn't let people put up this false information, especially when in the early stages of COVID-19. So they were trying to force him to do so. And he's like, I kind of want to take a step back, because if you intervene in that sense, there's going to be a lot of changes. Like, it's going to feel completely different.
Well, and like where do you draw the line? I think has always been the question.
Exactly.
Like, at what point does it become censorship? And it's a dangerous game to play, I think. And I think there's valid concerns there, and I have no faith in Facebook whatsoever. But on the other hand, yeah, I mean, it's just hard to say.
It just comes down if you believe in freedom of speech and how far you're willing to take that. Because what I think is interesting too, I don't know if anyone's familiar, but there was a channel on YouTube that was pretty popular amongst the right wing.
The white ring, I like
that. But not to get too much attention to people, but since it's non-existent anymore. Alex Jones.
Shout out to Alex Jones. He's classic, dude.
I can't believe I never thought we'd see the day. Sam's not even on this, and we're shouting out Alex Jones.
Yeah, but it's like the freaking crazy conspiracy theorist guy is like the water's turning the frogs gay, like that Alex Jones. Like this guy got his YouTube channel taken down because he said things that were untrue and he did a lot of fear mongering.
Well, I think it wasn't just that too. I think a lot of it was like they turned a blind eye to a lot of the untrue stuff, but he was like borderline inciting violence and stuff like that. And I think that's what they got him for.
Yeah, him and Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, and they let him get away with it for a long time, but at a certain point they're just like, this is too much.
Yeah, but what it begs the question: at what point do you start to censor that free speech? Because this is YouTube. It's a platform where they have their set rules, like, you know, as long as you're not showing nudity or whatever else the case may be, how much do you let get by?
Yeah. We're all just looking at a
Sorry
spider
for the
right
distraction.
now.
Like, dude, fucking Spider-Man over here is slinging down from the ceiling. I'm sorry to be so distracting. You guys was talking about something serious here.
I kind of want to get bit right now.
No, fuck that. We're not going to turn into... dude, if you don't leave
dude,
that...
Juju's like an exterminator.
Dude,
You got him.
Dude, you're gonna have this spider
Dude,
activist
you're
coming after
nuts,
you. I'm
man.
actually kind of one of them now. I don't believe in killing spiders.
So we're going to censor this part, and then...
but
also...
You're just going to yell, beep.
I did have one thing to say though on that previous topic before we segue away, and that is that I think it is troubling potentially to see social media platforms theoretically censoring stuff. But I also think it essentially has nothing to do with the First Amendment, which is basically the right to free speech, because it's a private organization and not the government. So, like, if you sign up for Facebook and they're like, hey, we can delete your posts for doing this stuff, and then they do that, I don't think that's censorship. I guess it could be censorship, but it's not a violation of free speech. Mm-hmm. And that's
very true. A lot of people don't understand that underlining.
Yeah.
It's just that when the government tries to get involved and force the private, now it becomes a problem of freedom of speech, because now the private companies are allowed to say what they want to say because it's part of freedom of speech, and you got the government trying to tell them, no, you can't say this.
Right, exactly. And so it really only applies to the government. Obviously, with this executive order we were talking about, it kind of muddies the water a bit, because there are some stipulations for publishers like newspapers and stuff that they can't just blatantly, I don't know, they're responsible on some level for their content.
Yeah, you're going to be held to a certain accountability, to a certain standard, so that way you know. And by the way, just quick sidebar, no animals were harmed in the making of this podcast.
Well, are insects animals?
Whoa.
No, they're not.
Why not?
They're insects.
I don't know, but it's something in science long time ago. I think they're third grade or some shit. I know everybody doesn't go to school. Some people are at homeschool, but in
wow, that's rude.
Haters.
But I know that some things are classified as not.
And you
not
believe
animals.
that because someone told you that? Like, what if I was like, "Yo, these people aren't"?
I have no
human.
choice but to believe because
you're in the school system.
We classify things by words that we have made up. So that word,
all
animal,
words are made up.
Everything's made up, bro.
Hey, look at that. And the word
this is that until it's not. Like, basically, you could only work with the verbiage that you have at the time. Like, basically, you know, like how people say, well, you know, you can't judge my great grandfather about racism because that was the times back then.
That was normal back then.
Right. You know, it's kind of
everyone else was doing it.
Like I said, Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in the bottles until they found out that, like, we probably shouldn't do that.
Or do they still?
Yeah, but times change, and when the changes is going, you got to go with the tides.
Yeah.
Or, as I like to say,
got to be fluid.
When the whiskey's
like
dry,
water.
The hooies fly.
I like that.
All right.
I mean,
words to live by.
So real quick, guys, you're listening in. This is not the Listening In podcast. We just did a
hype plug
a podcast with these guys here not too long ago. So definitely check it out. I don't know when. I don't know when they're gonna post this, but we are still
probably
having
Monday
technical difficulties here. But they don't know when Monday is. Shit, we're probably gonna post this podcast.
Shit,
who knows when?
Monday?
Yeah, we don't know what Monday.
Monday 2025.
It will come on a Monday.
We do like to be obscure, so it works out
but
for us.
I will tell you this as we're going. We're still having technical difficulties with YouTube, so there's going to be sections where you're just going to hear us, and there's going to be sections where you're going to see us.
Yeah.
So as you noticed here, these guys were whispering to each other on the video. I don't know what to tell you because I don't know what the hell they were doing there.
Well, I just didn't want to
But you just
draw
got
that much attention.
Yeah,
I
so-
gotta go with it.
I'm sorry, Daryl, but since you caught us already, we're planning to overthrow your guys' podcast and take it over. Now, Chuck and I will have 2 podcasts.
Debauchery.
But this one, we
Fuck.
will keep the name Boys to Bruh, and then this will be listening. The other one will be listening in.
But yeah,
All right, cool.
Well, I mean, at least at this point, we're from the point to where it was YouTube coming soon. Now there is a YouTube, and we're working out the kinks. So,
yeah,
you know.
because
may edit it out.
we definitely did a last episode where there's going to be no video at all. Like, I completely forgot to record that. But the content is extremely important. Make sure you definitely check out that podcast. We had a special guest on there. She was definitely very aware of what's going on currently today. And, whatever you could do, man, just to help out where you can. Just help out where you can. You know,
True that.
That's-
True that.
yeah.
honestly, don't
words of wisdom.
Don't look for help. If you give the help, people will help you. Anyway, guys, make sure you're voting. For primary. It is that time. Don't forget with all this nonsense going on right now. I know you guys all got this
Definitely.
crazy looking face right now.
I mean, because most of the primaries are kind of in the bag, especially if you're talking about the Republican
Well, I mean,
primary.
Illinois primary already happened and it sucked, and I moved on with my
sucked.
life. So
Yo.
I did vote though.
All right, cool. So
Hashtag Julian 2020.
Yep, exactly.
real quick, I just kind of wanted to know you guys' feelings on. I don't know if you're aware about the Drew Brees comment.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
I was following that like all morning.
So, what are your thoughts on
Well,
that?
what was the comment? I'm
Yeah,
not
go
familiar.
ahead.
yeah,
and
explain it to
enlighten
Chuck,
us.
and then I'll give
Oh
my
yeah,
thoughts.
just explain to Chuck.
So
For anyone
Drew-
that
so-
doesn't know.
So basically, the gist of it is, Drew Brees got on national television and said, anybody who disrespect the flags, I can't get behind. He's like my grandfathers. They fought in the wars, and that's what I remember when I see the flag. So basically, he just ignored everything that was happening and why, these people were
And
kneeling.
really quick, before we get into this, for the people listening that may not know, because everybody may not be as sports savvy like myself, as far as I know, Drew Brees is a football quarterback, right?
He's the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints.
Well, he was when there was football.
Drew Brees is extremely popular. Whether
He's
you watch
extremely
football or
talented,
not, when I said that name, everyone who listens to this podcast knows who he is. Yeah, New Orleans Saints.
My grandmother listens, and she doesn't know Drew Brees.
Listen, man, that's one person out of how
Hey,
many people.
But
listen,
that one person is who we have to.
but at the
to.
same time,
We have to cater to.
But listen, that he still made a statement. So the statement's more important than what he does.
Definitely.
No one really cares about what he does because it's not her entertainment. It's just like, I don't like certain entertainment. I don't like fucking coconut. Some people think it's the best thing in the world. But if the people who made coconut came out and said, hey, anybody who disrespects the flag, I have a problem with. So, what
All
do
right, you
guys
don't care that
thoughts
they
of?
made coconuts, but it's nice to add that little context.
May I just say, do you make coconuts? I thought they just like.
It's
grew.
called Almond Joy, bro.
Yeah, whatever they
Definitely.
use with the, because some
Coconuts.
people,
Coconuts are like a.
It's like a coconut record.
but you still got to
True. Shout out to Coconut Records.
But some people grow them or whatever, whatnot, and they do
All
different
right, we're
things.
branching off a little bit too much here.
Like a coconut tree.
Let's hear
a palm tree.
the commentary
Well,
on this.
basically, wait. I
topic
one
here.
thing I want to start off by saying before we get super far into this, and
We're not getting far into this. This is just a quick.
No, well, I'm just okay. Well,
Trust me,
my
he does.
my question is like, it's a weird statement for me because what does it mean to disrespect the flag? Does that mean that you literally step on a flag or start it on fire, or does that mean you're disrespecting what the flag stands for? Because to me, those are two totally separate things.
Those are separate.
And so I think a lot of people put a lot of value into the flag, and I understand why. But I also think it's literally a symbol, and it's like it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So I guess, like, what does he mean by that?
So, what I took from it, and I can see both sides, but the way I see it for Drew Brees is, it's one of those things where it's like he just spoke before he thought about it. Because what I was told as a kid was like, hey, like kind of chew your words before you say them. Like think about what you're going to say.
Especially if you have a massive platform.
Exactly.
Which is something that I think no one was taught as a kid.
So this is what I'm saying. He didn't really think about it. He just spoke from pure emotion. He was like, maybe he has.
Or
I haven't really
or whatever.
Well, yeah, but I haven't really looked up like what his background is with war, but maybe he had a
With
relative.
war?
Well, yeah, with the military or anything like that.
But
Where-
he didn't even
what
mention
my-
the military. He's
my
talking
point-
about the flag.
No, but my point is, maybe he had.
Oh, okay. He
a
did mention
relative-
military. You know, he did. Daryl mentioned that earlier, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's like I mean,
That's
whose
what I'm saying.
grandfather
Maybe
didn't fight?
he-
Like-
but my point is, maybe like it was just an emotional like thing for him. Maybe he just felt
undoubtedly
like from there.
Undoubtedly, he's feeling emotions
and
about
so
it.
when you're emotional, you're not really like thinking like the ramifications.
Well, it shouldn't be-
your words would have.
But that's the whole point. Is that
It's-
means he's extremely oblivious to what he's saying.
Right, at the
so
very
he's
least,
naive.
At the very least,
So,
ignorant.
so
Right,
when you're
oblivious. Shout out to the Voids. Right?
so yeah, I don't know that song. I don't.
The
maybe
Strokes. My bad.
Yeah,
Shout out
see,
to the
look, you
Strokes.
didn't even get the shout out right. That's messed up, and I didn't even know who it was.
That is
Don't
messed
worry.
up.
But
I'm,
look,
Don't worry.
I'm
I
ashamed.
fixed myself.
At
I'm
the
ashamed.
end of the day, though, he did know at this time, like when he made that statement, what's going on around the United States of America, and that's like not what to say because, granted, yes, you stand with your hand across your heart, and for many Americans, it's a privilege to realize that my grandfather and great grandfather may have fought for me to have freedom, while on the other hand, many cultures had to fight aside along them in a segregated, armory that
Like different wars,
they
right?
were definitely, yeah, exactly, that they were not appreciated, and when they came home, they had to face a whole bunch of crap. So
Yeah.
by him being peaceful enough to at least just not even shoot someone or burn the flag, which we've seen millions of times,
Yeah.
flip cars over, loop. The fact that Colin took a knee
Right,
was
exactly.
the most peaceful thing that you could do ever.
Especially
doesn't
in
get more
times,
peaceful.
right? Especially like reflecting on how things are
So
in the state of
yeah,
today.
so now you got people who are out here raging, they're looting, they're rioting, and we got these anarchists who are like messing up the things for certain people. I mean, it's just like it's so much confusing compared to just when it was so peaceful. When
Well, it's like cut and dry, right?
Yeah, it's
it's
like,
us
dude,
versus Nazis.
why
That's what
didn't
he's talking about.
why didn't you listen then? And now you want to say something. It's just like a lot of people
Yeah.
who are speaking up on the riot saying, "Whoa, that's stupid! You're tearing up your community." Blah blah blah. Yada yada yada. And I'm
You've
like,
been silent this whole time.
This whole
so at this
time,
point, your
yeah.
continued silence will be appreciated.
yeah, don't say nothing now because you didn't say nothing then. All you cared about was the fact that he kneeled. Now that a man has been murdered, you think that this is what caused it. No, this is the lead up. For 400 years, minorities and blacks mainly has been, oppressed. So when you have so many things that happens to you for so long, you have to make a stand. And the only reason why I believe this is a huge stance, and I don't want to stay on this long because this is enough traumatic for a lot of people, especially myself.
Well,
Like we're
I'm sure
reliving.
everyone's getting it
Definitely
everywhere.
is.
So,
trauma.
but the only reason why there's so much of justice that needs to be fixed right now with the systemic racism that needs to be rebuilt that people are ignoring, it's just like how Trevor Noah said. He said, "Hey, I'm at the doctor, and I say, hey man, something's wrong. I got this big bulge in my side or whatever. I think it might be cancer." He's like, and the doctor's like, oh no, I wasn't there. I didn't put it there. No, fucking take the cancer out. I'm not saying you were there, that you did it.
Just help me now.
And a lot of people are acting that way and not knowing that they can do something. They have the power to do something now. Help that man get the cancer out of him so that we can have a whole new system. And that's what we have to do. We have to help each other and figure this thing out. Because yes, we're not saying that you were there and that you're the racist person. It's just the fact that you're in power to change
Right.
what we're going through every day. So
Right.
definitely try to educate yourself on that. Don't continue to blast these people who are rioting. Just find a way to help, because honestly, if you just tell a person that you can hear them, that you're listening, you'd be shocked at how they would change.
And before we get off the topic, that just begs the question. I feel like we all have a consensus here But just to kind of try to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes, what is the right way to protest? Because you've heard that a lot of people say the kneeling is not the right way to protest. It disrespects the flag. The peaceful protest, you're blocking the streets, you're doing this, you're shutting things down. That's an issue. There's the looting, the rioting. You're being too violent. That's an issue. All of these are ways.
Or you're being too disrespectful.
You're being too disrespectful. You're going to offend somebody in some shape or fashion.
Isn't that what protesting's about, though?
I mean, honestly, okay.
People uncomfortable. If they're comfortable, they wouldn't change.
Exactly, Steve. You could definitely agree with me on this. I don't know about you guys because you like to run more than anything. You're not really a bodybuilder. You're kind of more of a like a
track star.
What do you like to do? Like, see, you're not into bodybuilding.
Water aerobics.
I know at one point, like, I was into trying to build the body. I know you try to stay strong for certain sports, and you know the only way to get stronger is to do what? To make yourself feel pain, right?
Yeah.
So there's not going to be
the whole
pain,
old
no
saying.
gain.
Yeah, I was about to say that whole old saying. But I don't know how much this is kind of dragging out this topic a little more, but I was curious. Does anyone here, like Daryl or Julius, do you guys watch Undisputed? Do you know what that is?
I do, barely though.
Okay, so I'll just give you a quick 2 minutes on it.
Synopsis.
Yeah, synopsis. It's a sports talk show, which I love sports. I watch sports all the time, and so this show is great because it covers all sports.
Yeah.
And it's got two great personalities.
Yeah,
on
they're
it.
very great.
Skip Bayless and then Shannon Sharp.
Yep.
Now,
I'm familiar with Skip.
Now Shannon Sharp.
I even know who those people are.
Shannon
Right. I've
Sharp
never
is
seen
a
it.
retired football player, and he played for the Denver Broncos. And I appreciate what he had said on that show. I appreciate what they've been doing throughout this whole time with that show. It's been great. They completely changed their show around and centered it to give this more publicity, which it needs. And what he had said, what Shannon Sharp had said about the whole Drew Brees thing is I get the point you're trying to make, and it's a good point, but this is not the time to be making your stand.
Exactly.
This is wrong time. Good idea.
Yeah, that's
good idea, but wrong time.
Exactly.
Not
Especially
the time.
since
And
you didn't have any other statements.
Right, and I completely agree with what he said. It's good premise, but not the time, bro.
Well, it reminds me of a saying that one of my European friends introduced me to. He actually had it on his wall, and it was in French or Spanish. I didn't know what it said. I don't know. But anyway,
Carpe diem.
basically, yeah, no, not that. But basically, the saying was a man points at the moon, and the fool looks at his finger and thinks that's the point.
That's deep.
And I feel
Hold on a second. Hold the. Say that again.
That's some real knowledge.
Say that one more time.
I'm probably butchering it, but it
don't matter. Say it again.
It's something like a man points at the moon and the fool looks at his finger. Yeah. And obviously the wise man sees the moon.
Dude, that's deep.
But I feel like it's
the
exactly what happened. Hey, we don't disagree. We love America, obviously,
Sure.
and I don't think there's anyone. Oh, I mean, there's probably some people, but in general, I mean, it's out of all the countries to live in, it's not the worst. There are a lot of great opportunities, but so we don't disagree about that.
But it can still be improved quite a bit.
But
There's still a lot to grow.
how can you just ignore literally what's the reason people are protesting and rioting right now?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that quote that you brought up really puts me in the mindset of a Black Lives Matter versus an All Lives Matter. When you say you're kind of you're looking at the finger instead of the point.
Exactly.
Like I say, you're not going to go to any Black Lives Matter person and they're going to say, oh no, Black Lives Matter, all lives don't matter, we're just talking about Black lives. If you think that, you're missing the point. And if you feel like you need to divert from the point that they're making, you're just being a part of the problem. What it is Black Lives Matter encompasses all lives matter. Of course, all lives matter. It's more about an equality thing.
Well, this is the problem right now, right? And so that's what we're focusing on.
Exactly.
We
want our life to matter as much as all other lives.
But I think the problem is a lot of people see that and they're like, well, why aren't I included in that statement? And then they kind of
they
switch it.
Yeah.
Well,
that's where the division
They
happens.
switch it implicitly into, instead of Black Lives Matter, just like all lives matter, but obviously we're focusing on Black lives because that's like what's happening right now. But they take that to mean Black lives matter more.
Right.
Yeah,
How
because
narcissistic
that's
is
for
that?
sure. I got a lot that I could say on that in Florida. Man, I used to hear it all the time, and I used to work with some crazy rednecks. They used to be like, yeah,
And gators.
and I don't know why they,
And
definitely a lot of gators.
alligators.
But like for certain, like a lot of them would feel comfortable enough to walk up to me and say, you know, Black people just think they're better than us, like to my face. And I was like, wait, what?
You're
But
like,
anyway,
but do I feel that way, though?
Exactly.
Now were any of those people alligators who were thrashing and trashing?
Who knows? But the most important part here that I need you guys to all understand here is with all this traumatic experience going on, man, you know how hard it is to masturbate, bro?
Oh, we're back on
On
this.
the
We're
lighter
back on this
note.
topic.
Well, I
feel like
guess
this is the
the
last
thrash
episode,
and
right?
trash just
Bro, I'm
it might have gotten cut
serious,
from the
man.
last
I'm
episode.
serious, bro. Like, dude,
It's hard with their
hard, bro.
equilibrium being
See,
off.
like, I don't have a significant other who can be like, oh, baby, blah, 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 calm down, this and that. And I'm too embarrassed to buy one of them stupid, like, fleshlights or something, like, crazy like that, whatever. Like, man, can you imagine that
The
package
Booty
coming
Master
in the mail
3000?
and my mom picks it up, like, yo, you got a message? And I'm like, yeah, open it up for me. And then the booty come out. You know, like, no.
Well, you're like, it's a typo.
No,
It's a flashlight.
No, I can't do it. No. But these are stressful times, man. But you know what's gonna suck even more? It's like, all right, okay, we still got some craziness going on. What are we gonna do for the 4th, guys? What's going on for the 4th? What are your plans for the 4th, Chuck?
My plan is hopefully shit's more normal. And probably same thing I do every 4th of July, which is basically like hit up some family and friends, have a barbecue, maybe set off some illegal fireworks from Indiana. But
Sweet deal.
that's pretty much it. I honestly, the 4th for me, what day is it on this year? Do you guys know? Is it during the week?
No idea.
Usually I'd be hitting up Taste of Chicago
That's
or
relevant
something.
information.
but-
That's not happening. You can
Yeah,
forget
no,
about that.
that's
And
definitely
that's
not happening.
freaking sad.
It's gonna be on a
'cause,
Saturday.
man,
Okay, yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's perfect. So maybe go to the beach, but the problem is, I mean, if they're
If
open,
it's right, if they're gonna.
I mean,
but
allow it.
Indiana's open.
My
but
daughter's
like,
gonna be in town. I gotta make sure I gotta bring her to meet you this time.
Dude, yeah, no, we should definitely
Oh, yeah,
hang
that
out.
would
I'm
definitely be
super
dope.
in. I'm super in.
Yeah, for certain.
We got to make it happen.
So
what
I
do you
know we went to this to get on a lighter note.
Definitely, because I'm not trying to drag. Because
Yeah.
listen, man, I'm having a traumatic experience just thinking about
Well, I mean,
it.
it's everywhere too. You can't
And
escape
it's
it.
like you
Yeah.
live as a. I know this is hard
negativity.
to hear, but like, when something doesn't happen to you, you can't relate. So you don't know and you disregard it. So
Yeah.
me as the host, I'm sorry to do this to you, man, but I'm gonna cut it off because my whole life, growing up in the projects, going to schools that were not as funded wellly as the next community and whatnot. Like I had to go through all this trauma, even watching the systematic racist videos of how, one kid grew up, only a block over from another community shows how, systematic racists have been around for, I don't know how long, like living this life every day. Like I don't want to talk about it anymore. I want to just give the people
Sure.
something to,
Yeah, just bring
That
their
they can-
spirits up.
you gotta uplift people,
yeah,
man.
because I don't want to drag this on any longer.
Because we're all
that-
living it every day.
Yeah,
so.
Oh, that's fair. And also,
I don't want to say we're all. Let's not do that.
Yeah, not
No,
we're all, but I'm
but-
just saying everyone's seeing it and
but-
being a part of it in some portion.
and
so.
also, everyone's already kind of expressed their opinions on it
Yeah,
and stuff
let's
like
just
that.
kinda-
Like
let's-
everyone's aware of
Good
the
or bad.
context.
I guess let's talk about somebody else for a second here. So we were kind of talking off pod about. This is gonna drag it back to it, but let's just.
That's how I felt
let's-
about the 4th when I
Let's-
said that.
let's
I'm back.
Let's just let's focus on his career so far, and that's Killer Mike on activism.
Oh, yeah,
like
Killer
being
Mike.
an activist.
Man, I really wanted to get to that, but did you want to kind of
Dude,
finish up
shout
on
out-
the 4th? I
shout
want to
out
know.
to
I
Run
want to
the
know what
Jewels.
Steve's doing for his 4th.
oh yeah, true. Yeah, sorry about that,
It's
Steve.
okay.
Go ahead. What you got going
I
on
get
for your
forgotten all the time.
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
I was expecting to just let it go, but I don't know. I want to grill. I want to just relax.
Can you grill?
Oh yeah, I grill all the time.
Dude, you see.
All right, whip it in the kitchen.
Yeah, you seem like you could be a good griller, but like
No, I last Sunday I grilled some
Listen,
pork chops.
all right.
All right, hold on.
I'm gonna say,
Litmus test real
I'm
quick.
a-
How do you season your meat?
Well,
pause, big pause, big pause, big pause.
No homo.
Man, I'm mad
All right,
you didn't say
you know
pause.
what the relevance was.
I didn't.
These days, you
did
never know
not.
anything.
I definitely did not. But yeah, go ahead. How do you season your meat? Pause.
So we can critique it.
Well, I for sure put
No pressure.
salt, pepper.
Ooh, classic.
I also like just depending on what I have around, maybe throw some paprika in there.
Okay,
And
little
then-
Oh,
spice.
getting a little
And-
spicy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then depending on like what's around, for me, I try and make use of what I have. So
That's
it's
what you always
never.
gotta do.
So what do you
it's
have?
Never.
You can always plan ahead, you know.
I could, but it's every time I grill, it's always like spur of the moment.
Well, like you
so
just
like
make
cooking
I'm
is
like,
a
oh,
spice
you
of
know
life,
what,
man.
You know what? I really want some burgers, so let me get some ground beef, and then I thaw it, and then I get it in a bowl, and then I put salt, pepper, other seasonings in it. And
Yeah,
then
like-
I-
And stuff
like
like
other
that doesn't need
seasonings.
much anything anyway.
other seasonings. Well, how about those wings you just made the other day?
oh, that.
This
those,
dude's got a wings recipe.
I was making wings, and I mean, I get the recipe for how you're going to do it online, but for the sauce, I made my own, and
Okay.
I had a barbecue sauce that said spicy on it. It was like super mild.
I
It
mean,
was,
that's
it was
sauce.
nothing.
Misleading.
So
And then I added some honey, but then I added salsa into it.
Ooh,
I had
risky.
to add,
Risky.
I had to add some salsa because it didn't have enough of a kick. It didn't have the kick that I was looking for,
Okay.
even though it said spicy.
So,
and it was all I had.
I'm
so I
making
just-
the face that black people can't help make when they hear fire beat, and they frown the upside down smile, but they're happy at the same time. Yeah, definitely salute. So really quick, after these quick commercial breaks, we will be back with the Boys to Blur podcast. I just threw everybody off, but yeah, we be back. Welcome back to listening in. No, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, welcome back to Boys to Bruh podcast. I appreciate you guys listening in with us and checking us out. I never do this, but I want to do a quick shameless plug that, me as your host, DJ Automator, I do sell beats. If you're looking for beats or voiceovers,
wait, like the vegetable beef.
So if you're looking for voiceovers or, just edits or anything that you need, your mixes here and whatnot, you could definitely hit me up on Instagram at DJ_Automator. Definitely check me out. I do have a beat page. It is in the bio. I do sell beats. Definitely check us out. So now back to
Well,
Boys
before
to
you get off of
Beats
that,
to
like
bruh.
the beat that you play at the beginning of our pods, that's your own, right?
Yes, everything that we play here is a creation of DJ Automator, unless
including Chuck and Steve. We are both robots. DJ Automator made
Yes,
and programmed,
automated
automated our
them.
voice.
Yes.
Thank you. Shout out
So-
to DJ Automator.
Thank
for
you.
automating us.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. But seriously, if you need anything, definitely hit me up. I do have a Beat Store page and I do have a Instagram page. You could DM me there and I would definitely get back to you for sure. So now back to Boys to Burr podcast, where we were grilling and chilling with Steven, how he just laid the sauce.
Yeah, and
So I think
I don't
think
know
you
why-
threw him off a little
I
bit.
no. I think I
it
had
threw me off too because I started talking for no reason.
Because we got to talking about you making your wings, and I was just waiting to see if you put lemon pepper on them. That's all.
no, I don't. But I think I
Disqualified.
had. I think I had said kind of what I put. I put like a sweeter barbecue sauce
Right, you
with
got
some
to mixing
honey,
in the salsa.
and then I like to put in salsa to give it an extra kick.
See, I was finna give you some credit, but I forgot you ain't all the way white.
Yeah, there's
Oh wow! Well, talk about
actually,
racism now.
according to the U.S. government, anyone of Hispanic or Latino descent is white.
Boom,
But
bombshell.
it's an ethnicity, not a race.
Since when you ever known anything of Latin or Mexican
Hey,
or whatever you
wait,
want to
wait,
call
wait.
it, Spanish, not to have a fucking seasoning on any damn thing? Come
No,
on.
I will tell you something. It blew my mind. I got to go to Spain a while back, and they don't. Like, it's a Latin thing.
So they white
what
for
part
real.
of Spain?
They
Did you
real.
go to?
They for
I
real white.
always wanted to go to Madrid.
So I was really lucky. I got to go to Barcelona and Madrid.
Damn.
And they were both pretty fire. But
Bowling.
I liked Madrid better, though.
Did you?
Yeah.
Because I had my wife had a fellow nurse that did a trip to Barcelona. When I tell you those shots were breathtaking.
It's gorgeous, and they're on a beach. Madrid is landlocked AF, so it's not that nice. But what I liked about it is I kind of felt at home because it
The
just feels like-
culture's probably crazy.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty international, but yeah, I mean, it's dope. I mean, there's still a lot of shops that close for siestas and stuff like that. I don't know why I was like stuttering, but
We've been drinking.
Yeah, I mean, a little
First,
bit.
for y'all who don't know, siesta is like a lunch break, but so much doper.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
It's like a nap.
I think the idea of
Yeah.
it is that like during the hottest part of the day, you don't work because everyone should be in their house staying cool. That's the idea.
When I went to Cyprus, they took siestas that sometimes were like 2 to 3 hours long.
Yeah, exactly.
Did
yeah.
you go to the hill?
I did not.
Shout
Not
out
the
Insane
Cyprus.
I saw that coming a mile away. I don't
mile
know how
away.
you didn't fall.
I did. I said shout out to Cypress Hill
Lord.
first.
Oh yeah, you're right. You know what? My bad, bro. My bad.
But
So, moving along real quick. I'm sorry to cut you off like that, Chuck. You were like in the middle. blah.
no, it's good. I didn't have anything
So,
nice to say.
Speaking of like dates coming up with Father's Day, 4th of July, and I
And
guess
Daryl's date this weekend.
I guess
Whoa.
I guess
Daryl, do tell more.
That's for later. We're gonna talk
That's
about
for the
that later,
thrash and
which is
trash
definitely-
part of the podcast.
Okay,
Which
gonna
is-
add in a little bit of suspense.
which is definitely not happening. But speaking of dates, Steven and I are definitely more in tune with sports. Probably Steven more so than myself.
I mean, that's a little offensive that you left me out.
I love to leave you guys out because you guys like watch one sport, and usually when like it's the end, like the playoffs or the
I
finals.
don't even watch
Come on,
that barely. And
come on.
I mean, I watch all of the marble racing.
See, you know what? Before we get to our next
Marble
topic,
Olympics.
let's talk about that. The jails run. I did not look this up. I should have, but the commentator is super intense about the marble race. And if you've never seen marble racing, it'll be the best thing you've ever seen in your life. Tell them, Chuck.
Yeah, I mean, specifically, a great one to watch is the Marble Olympics. It's amazing. Something that has really blown up during quarantine, I think. While all sports are canceled, marble racing lives on. And so, yeah, they have this great YouTube channel. There's a few of them. I'm not going to give any shout outs to any of them, but if you just YouTube it, it'll come up. And it's great because it's like an Olympic event, and they have different teams, like probably like at least 8 or 16. And they take them through all the events. They follow them, and the commentator is like one of the best commentators I've ever
Yes, for
heard.
sure, for
it's like
certain.
freaking Madden, dude.
His energy
Like,
matches like real Olympic level
Yes.
commentators.
and he knows all the stats for
Oh, yeah,
everybody. He's
for
like,
certain.
and like last season they weren't doing so good, so they're really pulling ahead this time. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, mind blown. And
He's
so
like, Blue Lightning's not gonna qualify.
So for
Like,
the rest of you
what?
guys who are still trying to figure out what the hell we're talking about, because we know some slow ones out there, there's literally a.
Why are you looking at me, Daryl?
I am not looking at you. I am looking at my notes.
that are written on your face.
I mean, if the shoe fits, let me know.
Oh, wow.
But like, no, seriously, like, what this is basically like different courses where there's marbles that have different teams, different colors and whatnot, and shades and all that. And they go down this course to see who comes in first and last. And they time each one of them. So there's marbles racing against each other. Some of them are through water, some of them through mud, some of them through dry sand. It's crazy. So definitely check it out. You'll be entertained. Your kids are running around the house all crazy. Put this on. I promise you they'll sit down.
Sorry, random side note, but while you were talking there, describing what it was, I was like, why don't you just narrate like bedtime stories for people?
Are you saying it's
Like
putting you to
Samuel
sleep?
His
damn.
voice is like so
Wow, that's a
soothing.
big diss.
and
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I couldn't tell if he was trying to diss
No,
me or not.
It wasn't a diss at all.
Oh,
It was
man.
like you should be a narrator for
Got that
stories. You've got
R&B
that
voice.
nice little like relaxing, soothing. Like it's very good touch. Good touch.
I don't even know which voice to put on right now.
I mean, on the previous podcast, he was spitting some pastor verses.
True. Very true.
Amen.
All right,
That's
now you
true.
spin the After Dark voice.
Yeah, back to
Soul Sundays.
BET After Dark. Why are you laughing so hard?
He used to watch those tip drill videos.
That is terrible.
It's safe to
down.
say I have no idea what. I mean, I know what BET is. I have no
All
idea
you
what.
know is After Hours, like Cinemax.
I
That's where all the explicit music comes
I
in.
never had cable.
Oh my god, that's right, dude.
Yep. Never
I barely
cable.
had Channel 11, man.
True that.
What the fuck?
We never had it.
I wonder if that's something that is like YouTubeable, if that's even a word. If not, I'm coining it.
It is,
But it isn't.
and it is.
So
Just
I
like a podcast.
Answer
The
and
podcast
answer.
Staying
is-
on sports for a minute. And I know we're not a sports podcast, but we like to talk about anything that's dealing with entertaining because we're just a couple of guys just hanging out, trying to figure life out, just like you. Steve, when is the NBA supposed to come back, man?
It's supposed to come back. I believe could be wrong, but I think it's July 22nd.
Wrong. No, I'm
because
sorry, I'm
at
just
one
kidding.
point, NBA was not the forefront of most sports. It was normally football or baseball. And baseball, I don't know
Right,
what the hell,
definitely
what
baseball.
wrong turn that went because like
That was
everybody
the
used to watch
all-American
that.
sport.
Yeah, growing up, you grew up, you won a glove, you're in the backyard, you're playing with your dad. I mean, what dad?
Wow.
Because my dad was definitely not there to throw a fucking glove. But anyway,
I think that
moving
requires
along.
like the beer, beer,
Like,
beer, beer.
dude, no, I'm not giving that nigga an air horn. Fuck no.
He gets no love.
None whatsoever. But yeah, like he was like spotted, you know, here and there, kind of like when a girl's getting off her. Anyway, look.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I see. I just processed.
Yeah, dude.
I just
yes,
got it.
Bars. But yeah, no, seriously. I'm curious how they're supposed to do this. Like, what's the format? I haven't been keeping up because, like I said, it's been hard for me to masturbate, bro, because all this shit is going on. So, what's the format supposed to be like?
So what they're gonna try and do is they're gonna try and have a style they've been thinking about doing for years is instead of having 8 teams from one conference and 8 teams from another, they would just have the top 16 teams.
It's almost like a March Madness.
Right, exactly. So they're going to take advantage and actually use this time to do that. But instead of the top 16 teams, they're actually, I
Sweet
want to say,
16.
going to have the top 22 teams.
Okay.
But all the teams that are out of the
So the
playoff,
Bulls are not.
right? They're gone. They're not invited.
So we're
You guys
we're-
are not gonna play.
We're
ball.
done.
We're
We're
done.
done.
Our season
We're
is
done.
over.
All right.
But the top
Tempo.
the top 22 teams and then the 8 teams who are like, because the last 8 teams of the playoffs and the top 2 teams like at the bottom tier, which would be the 7th and 8th seeds of each conference, they have similar records, so they would all play like 10 games and it would be like a play-in for those last 2 spots.
Oh, okay. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and then so it gives those teams which are close in record a chance to get into the playoffs. Like, even though it's like we had the same record as the 8th seed, but like since we're just skipping right to the playoffs, we can't make it. Even though, hey, if we had more games, we could have. So now they're allowing all those teams who are right on the cusp to allow them to play and try and get into the 7th or 8th seed. And then once they determine that, which that is only supposed to be maybe 10 games, probably 6 games. Not many games. I think actually 8. I think they had
You're
decided.
starting to sound like
That's in
Trump.
the middle.
Not many. I'm not sure.
But they will be the best games.
But they probably will be the best games.
That's the best.
But in all seriousness, though, that's their plan. And then once they determine the last 2 seeds for each conference, then they're going to do a play-in tournament. But instead of like the one team from the West versus the 8th seed from the East, it's actually going to be more like college, from what I hear. So it's going to be the one
I remember
team,
college.
The one team, the
So
number
long
1
ago.
seeded team faces the 16th, and the 2 faces the 15th. So instead of conferences, they eliminate conferences.
Oh wow, that's different.
And then also, because the whole thing with conferences is like, oh, well, all the Eastern Conference teams would play each other and they wouldn't have to travel as far because they're all in the same like area, right?
Right.
But for this, everyone's flying to Orlando. Everyone's going to be in the same spot.
Okay.
Sounds like a Corona conference.
Well, that's one of the issues.
No,
that
okay,
they're-
but let's
But
try to-
everyone in the NBA has already had coronavirus.
True.
So
Right.
Damn near. Almost. But let's try to stay focused on the
Yeah.
future. Like the guy on the podcast of listening in, you guys need to definitely check it out. No spoiler alerts. Spoiler alerts. Definitely been drinking here. It's definitely kicking in. We did an episode on there where they talked about the song called Pantyhose, and there's a twist, and the guy was holding on for something for the future, but I can't tell you what it is. So you're definitely going to have to check it out. So let's just try to stay like that guy was and stay focused on what could be.
Razor sharp focus.
Like a razor blade. Shout out
I
to
just
the
want to
Sharks.
say it's really hurtful that they extended the criteria and Chicago still didn't make it.
Yeah.
Amen. True that. It just shows
That
how
hurt.
So
no, our season is over.
Because the
like-
NBA
yes.
is rigged.
But
So-
part
Clearly.
of me, I'm happy about that though, because now our front office doesn't have to worry. Because that was an issue. I don't know. Like, I know you guys are really upset with the Bulls, so you may not have been following them because you've given up hope at this point, and that's fine. I totally get it. But what our new general manager, we just got a new one. He didn't really want to fire Boylan for sure until the offseason. He wasn't sure because if we were going to have a season and play games, then we need a head coach, and he just didn't want to put the...
Right.
Now, he can get Boylan's ass
Yes,
out of
get
there,
the fuck outta here,
and
bro.
bye-bye, see you later, because
So-
we're not playing. Our season's done.
So-
So we don't have to worry about them like, oh, we have a new coach, and we'll mess up something.
I guess my question to you, Julius, and Chuck, because you guys definitely have experienced sporting events, and you know how intense the crowd can be and how it can change the game and make it involved. But my question is to you, how do you think these teams will fare because there's not going to be a crowd?
No fans. LeBron...
I mean, my one sentence on it was, I think it'll be easier for them.
I like that.
I have a different perspective.
Go ahead.
I think it's going to be hard to hype them up, and they're going to be in the game. But like you said, with all those eyes on you, all that focus, that drive to have to perform, I think that kind of pushed you forward. So I think now that all of them are missing, all of that slack is going to have to be taken on by the cheerleaders. They're
so-
going to have to wear the skimpiest outfits
So my
ever.
understanding is,
They just come up.
Neither-
They come out there with pantyhose and bras. That's
so neither one of you have like played like sports like professionally, or let me say professional. I don't know.
organized.
I've never played
organized.
like
professionally.
any organized
I-
sports
bro,
or
I
I was
has-
in high school.
hold on,
Chuck-
wait a minute. Let me get this from these guys real quick.
Yeah.
So like any like for an institution like where you had to perform in front of a large crowd. Have you ever done that for a sporting event?
I did a couple years of flag football, which I know lame, okay, whatever. But there were crowds, and that's actually where I met my
what-
wife.
Okay.
So it worked out. It worked out.
So what about you, Julius?
Throughout middle school and high school, I have played basketball and football.
So now, Steven, on the other hand, I know for certain has definitely played under pressure where you have the crowd yelling at you, saying certain things, and you say that it's going to be, hard, and then you say it's going to be easier. I have to side with Chuck because
yeah.
it's one thing to know you have a camera on you. It's just like right now, we've been recording. You guys completely have forgotten till I said that. You guys all just thought about that right now. It's the same thing when it comes to professional sports.
Wait, where's the camera?
It's right there.
just
But
kidding.
the same thing with professional sports. Yeah, they know everyone's watching, but once you're playing, you don't care about that anymore. It's just like once you start recording
Right, you're
or
in
we're
your
having
zone.
our conversation for our podcast, you don't really start thinking about that the mic is in front of me. Constantly, we have to remind each other to get close to the mic sometimes. But the point is, if you're a good athlete, in your heart, you're going to compete no matter what. So when you got people like LeBron James out there, this is going to be a pickup game for him. This nigga's about to score 800. Because every night he has to deal with LeBron, you're a bitch. Shut up and dribble. You're a pussy. And this is stuff that you don't hear about till later because someone on the sideline recorded with their phone. The NBA cuts this stuff out, so you don't hear this. So now with an empty floor, no fan pressure.
No haters.
What's your stance on that now? I haven't forgot about you. Trust me.
I was like, Steve's got his hand up over here, so we'll get right to you. But to me, I can agree with that, but I also see the other side of the spectrum because I personally have felt now, this might not be as relevant because this was like 8th grade basketball, but that energy can definitely translate into you when you're in the last minute of the game and it's only like a 1 or 2 point difference and you got to box out to get that ball off the miss of the free throw shot. like that crowd can really hype you
Yeah,
up.
but there's not going to be a crowd.
But
you
that's
said
what
it's
I'm
gonna be
saying. I
hard.
feel like that energy translates to you. And without that energy
why-
there,
But you don't have to focus on. Okay, so imagine like, all right, you got 30 seconds left. You know you only got 5 pumps left. You're having sex, and here I am saying, "Fam, you about to bust before you get all 4 nuts, all these 4 pumps out. Fam, you're gonna have a hard time." But me not being there, you can focus on your 4 pumps.
Well, I don't.
You can make them
it all
last
comes
longer.
down to perspective.
Yo, I'm just
analogy-
saying
that
though.
depends on the person.
Yo,
I guess it depends on how big the crowd is watching me.
Yeah, Steve, Steve, you're laughing at me, but I'm serious. Like, can you imagine you're trying to do your thing, right? And you don't have to worry about no one else saying anything to you. You could just focus on you. So when you say in the midst of the box out at the last minute that crowd can help you, I don't believe that, because now you don't have to worry about the crowd saying, "You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose." You can focus more on getting the rebound.
There's different
and the
people
other
with
team-
different
'cause look, wait,
personality
Well,
types.
I
Wait,
guess something
wait.
to say too.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, like, okay, so like going back to the sex analogy, right? Imagine if you're there
Jeez,
and you're
thought
about
we were
to do
off
your
that.
thing, you're about to do your thing, and there's a whole audience there, and they're all like cheering
Yeah.
and clapping.
You're gonna do
Like,
great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I guess from that analogy, I see Juju's
You'll
point.
last longer because you'll be distracted.
And there are places that exist
that could actually be winning.
where people who like, now this, granted, this is a smaller portion of the community, but there are people that are exhibitionists that like
Yeah, it's like
things
a kink,
that.
bro.
So there are places that exist where like couples and things go,
right, we're
and
taking
not
this
to
too
get
far.
too far left.
Taking this
But
too
I'm just
far.
saying that is a difference in
But-
personality.
So where
types.
would
It
you
can
where
work
would-
for
wait,
somebody?
Juju,
and not
where would you
somebody
go to
else.
find these places?
No,
I'm just
we're not-
curious. I mean, I'm just wondering.
So back to the main point where he's saying that box out to get the ball, the crowd can help you. See, when you got another team that is dominating you, there's not going to be that moment. That's not going to happen. You're never going to get that chance because the league, it's different when there's no audience. So if you're playing against a team with a very good defense, you're fucked. Period. You're not winning.
Well, what are we talking about again?
Basketball.
Basketball.
Oh, okay.
Even when it comes to even when it comes to football, like, you know, or any other sport, you know, especially
sex.
soccer. Like, I'm having like a heart attack trying to watch soccer or hockey, dude. I cannot watch that. Especially, like, I can go to every live sporting event except soccer. I will lose my mind at a soccer
I
event.
played it 1 year, and
He got banned.
it amazed me what you could get away with in soccer. You could get away with so much more foul wise than you can in basketball. Like,
True.
I would literally go, and while this person was in the air, I would just shove them like out of the grass, like way out into the field, like basically a football move, and kick the ball out of bounds, and it was just out of bounds. Whereas I couldn't do that in basketball.
No, it's hard to get away
Well,
with
you
that.
can do it in basketball. You just sit on the bench the rest of the game.
Yeah,
True.
you're out
Yeah.
of the game.
Yeah.
But
That's where I like it.
what I was going to say with basketball, I can kind of see both sides to the equation where I get the whole idea of the crowd, because I definitely, when I played, I was one of those players where I did feed off the crowd. I would try my best to get the crowd into the game.
Yeah.
Like, if I fouled
It's a
you,
weapon.
If I fouled you, I would give you a hard foul and then just like try and get the crowd.
Yeah, that's a
hyped.
weapon. Yeah.
And so I can get that, but then also I can get like the idea where if there isn't a crowd, you don't have any like pressure on you. So then you're also just like chill, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm not worried about anyone like seeing, like, yeah, maybe I don't have the best form, but if I feel
It
I
might
can
take
make
away
this
some of the importance
shot,
for you.
right.
I would feel like it feels like a practice or a scrimmage if there's
Hey,
no crowd.
for me
Yo,
personally,
if I'm making $1 million per game, I'm good.
true. But
I guess-
for me personally, I would say as a player, I took practices and games as seriously. And actually, I probably enjoyed the practices more because I enjoyed the practices more because I didn't limit myself. In
Yeah.
games,
That's
I would
how- yeah.
limit
Yes.
myself
It's very smart.
because I'm
You gotta
like,
reserve.
you know what? I don't want to do this because our team has a nice flow and system going. But in practice, I'm like, hey, I know I can make this 3. If you're not going to step up on me to the appropriate amount where I think I'll just pull up in your face.
Right.
And you know what? I would make them in practice all the time, and then people would be like, well, where is that in games? It wasn't that I wasn't making them in games. It was that
your
I
coach
wasn't,
would yell at you if you did.
and I wasn't even taking them because it's like I was trying to play as part of the system because
Right.
it's that whole idea.
Exactly.
Like you're
Just
doing
a cog in the machine.
Exactly.
But I
You're
get-
doing your part to
Yeah.
make the team win.
But I guess
and so for me, it was more like an enforcer where I would get the crowd into it.
So I guess what we can take from this as a mutual stance is honestly the what it comes down to is going to show us who the better teams are.
Right.
Because now there's no distractions.
Exactly.
Right, there's no drugs hyping people up,
Yeah.
like audience.
Yeah, no.
I gotta. If we're done with this one though, I got a
The
topic.
audience is a hell of a
Yeah, I
crowd.
feel like
Okay.
we lingered on this one longer.
So-
No,
than
Sorry.
that was
I'm
definitely
sorry,
my
guys.
closing remarks.
Yeah.
If you
Oh
guys
no,
didn't notice.
no, I noticed. I just didn't want to cut anyone off. But
No, you're good.
So side note though, did any of you guys catch? So like, lots of stuff has been happening, right? Everything is.
Except my masturbation.
Yeah, exactly. everything but that. But
Well, we've made it full circle.
Jeez.
but did you guys catch that SpaceX launch of the
I did.
Dragon rocket?
I didn't watch it, but I did
I
hear
didn't
about it.
either.
I didn't watch it either, but dude, he like that crazy bastard did it, Elon Musk. Like
That's
he
amazing.
proved his Dragon rocket works. We got U.S. citizens or astronauts
And
on
it's a
the
private
the
company.
space
That's
station.
crazy.
So for
Yeah.
those who don't know, let's give a little bit more context on what this Dragon rocket is. And everybody should know Elon Musk is Tesla. So
He's
yeah.
a crazy eccentric billionaire.
yeah, his
dude.
SpaceX company is doing way better than Tesla.
He just named his
actually.
kid
Really?
Yes.
or
It's
whatever,
like-
I mean, however you
it's
said
like
that. I don't know if you guys got that.
It's like XAE1.
Except it's not. It's like A/E.
He said how to say it on the Joe Rogan podcast, but I'm sorry. So, and I didn't really mean to shout him out, but whatever. You can find that episode somewhere or whatever.
It's out there. Just
Yeah,
Google it.
He said how to say it on there. I forgot how you say it.
But yeah, to be honest, I don't even know what the specifics of that Dragon rocket are, but I know it's like a big breakthrough. And I know one of the most impressive things about it that hasn't been, I think, done outside of what SpaceX is doing is that they launch the rocket into the air and normally like that all detaches at some point and it just goes into the atmosphere and burns up. They
Shout out
landed,
to atmosphere.
yeah, definitely. But they landed like the first stage of the rocket back into the ocean on a ship. Like that is some next level.
that is
Elon
huge.
Musk.
That is huge. And so
Craziness.
for you guys who are lost in context, on the Listening In podcast, they do a lot of shout outs. I know we don't do that as often.
It's kind of like a running gag for
but
us.
that's where we're laughing. So yeah.
And Atmosphere is a
Atmosphere
rapper.
is a great artist. You should definitely check him out.
But yeah, with that said, Elon Musk really broke through the atmosphere.
That's
Amen.
dope. I
There
think
we are,
that's dope.
proving that the world is not flat.
I do.
Dude, have you guys covered Flat Earth, by the way?
I will not. How about
Okay,
we?
this is the podcast. Let's do it.
How about we fix my flat ass credit? We could talk about that. I got more important things
Well,
to worry about
dude,
than if the Earth is flat or not.
How about we just fix my flat ass?
Genetics, man.
And
DGS. I'm sorry.
there we go.
I'm sorry, genetics, man.
because we definitely won't want to linger on this. But I love King of the Hill, and that was one of the things in that cartoon. He had a DGS, which was
What is that?
diminished glutes syndrome. One of the funniest episodes ever.
Dude, I
he
need
had
to
to get a
watch
butt
it, man.
prosthetic.
Speaking of Here We Go, would we want to show them that? Would they be interested?
What's Here We Go?
Liquid Crack.
Nah,
Nah, not
Yeah,
today.
I'm lost.
not today.
Yeah, of course you guys are lost, but we would show you, but he's
So
not today.
how about we talk about relationships for a moment?
Oh no, here we
Yeah,
go.
that's one of our staples.
Here it goes again. Here we go. It's out to Lee Shields.
Here we go. We were golden. We were nuts. Anyway,
I mean, it's
Wow.
a good topic,
Yeah,
especially
you
with the
have a-
mix here. We got married people, engaged people, single people.
yeah. So
yeah.
Daryl, you have a beautiful voice. I just wanted to say that.
thank you for telling the people about my Apple Bad Connection phone connection call voice you're talking about here. I sound like a mouse been scratched by his right back leg while he's trying to still get the cheese out the mousetrap. What are you talking
Oddly
about?
specific, just like Tom
Well,
Waits.
Daryl, it's funny that you say that because mice are actually widely recognized for having the best voice in the animal kingdom. So I'm just saying.
I need to watch some YouTube then, I guess, and educate myself because I don't
Man.
know anything about this.
I'm
Dude,
just
you never
getting
heard
so
that-
much dropped on me today.
You never heard that mouse orchestra? They play like Beethoven. and shit?
Fantasia with Mickey Mouse?
Hey, true.
True that. But
It's along the line.
I mean, hey. Like a modest mouse. Shout out to Modest Mouse.
I just saw the hamster with the tiny burrito. So
Wow.
Did he at least have a sombrero on? Sombrero.
Wow.
Sombrero, I barely know her.
Okay, someone needs to rescue us from this
So-
topic.
Steve, relationship status.
Single.
Julius, relationship status.
engaged. Wedding's coming in 4 months.
DJ Automator, single. Chuck.
Relationship.
Married.
So we got a bunch of different perspective here. Different perspectives here.
3 to be
And-
exact.
Better watch out though. I might get in trouble.
Status. One point perspective.
Which
Shout
I'm
out to
sure
Arctic Monkeys.
which I'm sure we all have experienced relationship ghosting. So, how about we start with Steve?
Or we've done it.
And you tell us
Yeah.
for certain. Let's not get to that part yet. Because on basic friendship relationships,
That's part 2.
here Chuck and Julius have definitely ghosted me several occasions.
Yeah. Well,
So, but-
it's in my DNA.
We want to talk about how we have been getting ghosted. So, Steve, tell us about the time you got ghosted. Let's try to keep this under a minute. Just tell us.
And just as a sidebar before we get to it, one of the main things we like to point out on this podcast is that relationships are not just limited to romantic. There are many different forms of relationships. So we
Name
prefer
one.
to hear about your romantic ghosting, but also if you want to include friendships.
Daryl
or-
can pour out his
Well,
soul.
we get into the shits. We talking about the intimate ones.
Yeah, that's
All
what we want right
We're
now.
not talking about the regular relationships, where friendship relationships or association friendships, like how I'm not sure if me, Chuck, and Julius are friends or associated because they only talk to these niggas when we do a podcast.
And Daryl doesn't even talk to me.
Well, only when Daryl wants something
So-
from us.
So I don't fucking know,
I'm just
but I
kidding.
know I've definitely been ghosted in both of those relationships. So
and
Steve,
Daryl never
Here
even
he
talks
goes.
to
so
me.
Steve, but I've never ghosted you.
Relationship ghosting.
Anytime you've sent me a message, I respond. All right, so moving
And
along.
vice versa.
So 1 minute, tell us about a intimate relationship.
Wait, you guys are like Ghostbusters because you're like not
Wow.
ghosting anybody. Anyway, sorry. Continue though. Daryl put the question.
So 1 minute. Tell us about a time where you're in an intimate relationship or about to be in one where you thought things were going smooth and you got ghosted.
There isn't one.
You've never been ghosted.
He's
I gotta learn from this guy
the
over
boy
here.
is still young. Commercial break.
Yo, my man said he ain't never been ghosted, fam.
Never.
In
got-
these streets.
He's got a long life ahead of him.
So let's move along.
The
Julius,
love guru over
engaged. So let's just 1 minute. It doesn't have to be your relationship that you're in now.
Yeah,
it
because
could
I'm
be one.
definitely not going to go deep on this one for the sake of my relationship. But I will talk. There have
So-
been times that I have been ghosted.
1 minute, you tell us about a time where either you were in a relationship or you thought something was about to happen and then you got ghosted.
So I have ghosted as well as been ghosted. So
But we're not
all-
talking about that. We're talking about the ghosting, getting ghosted.
Right, it's
The
ghosting.
that
I'm
got it.
ghosting or
Got the
getting
ghosting
ghosted.
To the
Got-
to the
got ghosted.
All right, go for
But
it.
anyway, one time that comes to mind where I got ghosted is somebody who I used to work with, which was particularly troubling because this is someone that I already someone I already had relations with. But it's like we had hit it off super
into the
good.
weeds.
Yeah,
Oh,
we had
shit.
hit it off a lot, and then we started hanging out and whatnot. And then one time, like we had an arrangement set up, like, all right, you're going to do X, Y, Z, and let's meet up afterwards. And then I didn't hear from them for like 3 days. So,
Damn.
and then it's like it's so awkward because then it's like we work together in like 4 days, so then I got to see you, and it's like,
Oh, that's the
Yo.
worst. See, mine ain't that bad. At least, like, damn.
and then you get back to work, and then they're trying to flirt, and I'm like, No, you're not just gonna brush past that.
Hell yeah.
Like you didn't just not show up when you were supposed to.
Yeah, nah. Damn.
So, yeah.
Nah, I can't. That's painful. Chuck, tell us about a time that you were in a relationship or about to be in one.
You're
and
gonna
you
get me in
thought
trouble.
Something was gonna happen, but you got ghosted.
Yeah, so to be honest, mine's not going to be that great because I have been ghosted, but never by anyone that I was particularly interested in.
Wait, I'm confused. Like, yo, you and Steve got some interesting stories.
Well, the problem with me is I've
Return
been
of the Mac.
I've been
Man.
I've been paired up.
Whoa.
I've been paired up for a long time, so it's not like I don't know. It's like that's like ancient history for me, you know. Like it's just yeah.
First of all,
It was over
that
2
was the
decades
smart
ago.
answer. We should have asked him first.
So you had something to follow.
Right. He's got the safe answer. I went out here and just told my truth like a dumbass.
Hey, you just cursed again. You about to be filling
you
that
did
job
not
right
help
off.
by
And
pointing it out.
I'm not censoring that.
Dude,
at
ass
all.
ain't a curse.
Wait, say it again.
Ass isn't a curse. It's a
Right.
compliment.
It's like, that's in the Bible, donkey.
Yeah,
man.
it is. Come on, you dumbass. I'm pretty sure they said that. Isn't it in Exodus or something? Moses
Yeah,
says it.
Joshua the donkey or something. I don't know.
Nah.
Wait, Steven, isn't there a donkey that, what's his name?
Balaam?
Well, Balaam was the
Balaam's
donkey
donkey?
in the Bible that talked, but what's your donkey?
Donkey Alley.
Donkey Alley, yeah.
Hey!
Okay, if you're
Donkey
hearing
of
this
the
podcast, never Google that. It's like the worst thing you could possibly ever look
You're
up. And
not
with
on
that
drugs,
said,
you will be after
and if you
this.
are on drugs, you'll be in bad shape. Anyway, sorry, but I think it's Daryl's turn, though.
So my stories are extremely basic. They're not extreme or as confident as Steve, who's never lost. Like, dude, seriously, man, mine are like super simple. Like, I mean, I've had one, similar to, Juju the God, but I didn't have to see them like the next week. So like, I thought we were going to get together. It was someone who I had relations with. We set up the whole 9. And then all of a sudden she went missing for like 2 months. And everything seems to be that way for me. Like I just met a few chicks on Tinder. And then all of a sudden, like, they just like disappear out of nowhere, dude.
Dude, Daryl, that sounds like you're in my relationship minus the relations part. But
Oh, man.
anyway, sorry.
tough.
We gotta keep going. Let's just keep going. Edit that out.
So I'm definitely not.
So I can't help but feel like, based on the contents of these other 3 stories, that I've been duped.
Daryl's like, got him.
Yeah.
Deciding this right now.
This whole segment was just a way to get you to spill the
It's part of a new segment called Bait Juju.
Go ahead and set me up a pallet on the floor.
Oh man, yeah, you already know. Well, at least you got some time before this podcast comes out.
Before the bomb drops to repair the damage.
Get my affairs in order.
So,
Dude, shout out.
Bears. Whoa.
Set up that will.
This is nuts, man. This has been crazy. Everybody, just try to stay focused, man. Try to find things positive to do in your life. Like I said on the last pod, there's hotlines available for people who are facing domestic violence. Definitely, speak up. Don't let this continue to happen to you. And then people who have power to make change, definitely make change if you can. Do what you can. Don't ask what someone's doing for you, man. Try to make a difference. Try to be involved in your community, man. There are people out here who are starving, who can't work. And I know it's not the same for everybody, but, do what you can here and there and whatnot. But on this note, I just want to thank the listening in boys, Steve and Chuck, for joining our podcast today. If you can let everyone know how we can find you.
Yeah,
one
first
more
of all, thank you so much again for having us on this podcast.
Yeah, it's
For
always
the
a
second
pleasure,
time.
man.
Yeah,
I'm
glad to have you.
impressed we got invited back, to be
That's
honest.
what I was just about to say. This is the first podcast we've been on twice.
So back to the original
I don't know if that
statement.
says more
Yeah,
about
they were-
us or more about you.
Well, the original statement was, "How do you find us?" Right.
Yes.
So the podcast name is Listening In. We're on Spotify. We're on all major
We're on
platforms.
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
Hey.
Pocket Casts,
Yeah.
Anchor, obviously.
Yep.
And we're also on Radio Public and like Overcast
But anyway,
and like all this other
no one
crap.
cares about that. But what's our handles though?
So for Twitter, it is _listening_in. And then for Instagram, it's listening in podcast, no spaces, no capital letters. And I did my best also, shout out to the Voids, to really keep up with
Shout-outs, though.
with social media and
Yeah.
post stuff on
Yeah,
there
so check
pretty
out either one of
regularly,
those.
so
You can
check
find
it
our
out.
you can find our podcast from there. Find out when we're dropping episodes, and that's pretty much
Beautiful.
it.
Let us know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Also, you can message us.
I mean, you should probably be letting Boys to Bruh know that since this is their podcast.
True that, but also just you can message us through those platforms.
We're there for moral support.
Indeed.
So, did you have any closing remarks, Juju to God?
Oh no, like I said, just we loved having them here. We like having our guests. It really brings a different dynamic to the podcast, and you should definitely go check them out because we also do their podcast sometime, just as they have come to do ours as a guest. So, again, we just happy that you guys are listening in. All 12 of you now. You know, we're multiplying.
Hey, we definitely are, and I feel bad.
Definitely appreciate the
on a few
love.
podcasts back. I was like, "Yo, where did all the women go?" And that was the most women we had on the podcast.
Yeah,
I
man.
said,
Well, dude, now you know how it works.
Dude, it's crazy.
Exactly.
You just
It's
gotta complain.
Pretty much, yeah. So, real quick, you know what I'm saying? Definitely got to play the music. Yo, by your boy, DJ Automator. Thank you for listening to the Boys to Bruh podcast. You can find us on all platforms that you can think of for the most part. The majority, your Facebook, your YouTube, your Twitter, your Instagram. It is BOYSTOBRUH, Boys to Bruh. Definitely check us out. Definitely check Listening In Boys out. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah, hang with us.
Stay safe.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't think we've ever let the beat play out like. Look, I'm fucking it up now. I never let
Well,
the
mean,
Dude, I love
it's
it.
Always,
That's a nice trail, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nice beat. Exactly. Shout out to DJ Automator.
I gotta
True
get
that.
us some.
Shout out to GJ Automated.
I gotta get us some drops, man.
Damn, dude,
Yeah.
I really gotta go buy a new pair of pants.
What?
This shit's
Because I
ripped
was
as hell.
completely lost.